Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you my Springshopstorage challenge entry hosted by the Woodfather, Mario, on YouTube, and I've posted some updates along the way on Instagram as well. What I'm looking at doing is tidying up this messy area underneath my lathe and creating some storage for some tools, some sanding equipment, and kits and just general other stuff I use around the workshop. I had these MDF sheets that were left over from when we bought the house. It was a bookshelf that the previous owners had. And what I'm doing, I'm just marking out and cutting up the bigger panels of my drawer sides and possible shelves as well. I then took it to my table saw to rip it to the right lengths and widths. I still need to upgrade my rip fence because I've just got a straight edge there clamped down, and you'll see that's not a great idea. It's a little bit sketchy, especially when the table saw's on wheels, and yeah, you don't want that happening. Bit scary. And I'm just ripping up some bracing to join this carcass together. My original plan was to have one giant carcass that took up the whole underspace of the bench, and one part would be for all the lathe tools, sanding gear, kits, and other stuff I have. And the other side would be storage for blanks and other tools as well that are bigger, don't need to be in a drawer. But you'll see along the way, things have to change, have to adapt. Enjoy this view. So once it's all screwed together, it's time to put it into its place, or at least try to get it in. No! Oh. Yeah, it's pretty demoralizing. Oh, come on. Take two. So I quickly unscrewed it and trimmed down some of those bracings to make it a bit shorter and it fit in. But we'll see there's another problem with it. It's not going in all the way. What I didn't check was that the opening on this side was the same as the opening on that side. So obviously when I knocked this bench together, there was a quick rush job just to get the lathe on, so I could start turning stuff and square, close enough or square enough. Not now. You have to start all over again. All right. So instead of making a completely new bench, I thought I'd just get rid of that extra storage on the side and just keep it to the drawer setup. I'm just cutting up the drawer material now, and I cut it up in these bigger sheets so I can get it to the rough size, and then I'm going to rip it to the final heights on the table saw after that. So that first pile, this first pile here is all the three bigger drawers. They're about 120, 121. And then a shorter pile for the top drawer, which is just going to be the lathe tools. Last step, I want to use the table saw floor to finish these drawers off. is to just cut a housing joint, just the thickness of the blade. Maybe I might need to move the guard over a touch. I've got some spare plywood back there that I'm going to use as the draw base. So I want to finish all my cuts on the table saw, put it away, and then I'll dock them all to the final length on the drop saw. Right now, that slot's not big enough for the plywood, so I'm going to have to move the fence 2 mil, maybe a blade width thickness over to get the plywood to fit. So I'm just working out the base now, and my drawers is going to be butted together and hopefully kept pretty square from the base. So to work that out, this piece that sits inside, it's got to be that length plus the housing, I cut on each side, and then this way it'll be, what will it be? Do maths. The length of it minus the remaining gap? I don't know, I'll work it out. Oh, this MDF is a bit frayed on the edges and thicker than what the rest of the board is, so I'm going to have to try and fix that up. Making it worse. Try something else.
Lucky, the woodfather, Mario, the host of this challenge, gave me a tip to paint some watered down glue on those edges to harden them up, which made it easier for me to cut. And I did that off camera. And eventually I got them fitting in nice and snug. I picked up a few sets of these soft close drawer runners that are going to be installed onto my carcass here.
And these, cut them to the height of the gap plus half the drawer, because they're going, the runners are halfway to the drawer, on the drawer. So open that up, slot in, place in there. And now I've set my calipers here to the right depth. It's even to the one on the other side. And I'm accounting for a false front here. I don't want these white crappy pieces as the finished front. So I might get some timber and put a nice front on them. And I'm just going to use a quick grip, hold it in place. Just going to check again. This one feels like it's going to be the hardest one, the one that I actually recorded. So, pull these parts. Oh, that's my nail. In line with the front of the drawer. It's going to be covered again. And screw it in. Still centering pile bit. Just hit it in the hole. There we go. The spaces are on. Something funny. spacers are causing the grief.
These 4 drawer runners were really easy to install. It helps when you use spacers and common measurements according to your drawers, so that you can just repeat it over and over, and you don't really have to use a lot of rulers and marking out. So everything was just repeatable, and I was able to put these in about half an hour with no problems. So these are my drawer fronts that I knocked up quickly and put my little logo on. They're new Guinea Rosewood with a water-based poly finish on top.
Okay, so drawer fronts. I've put the first one on just to make sure the way I was doing it and the spacings were right. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other 3. The only problem is I haven't worked out what handles I'm doing yet, so it might be a bit tricky to open them up once the drawer fronts are on, but I've got to get them on anyway. So what I've done, I've marked the difference between the drawer and the drawer front with a line there. I'm just going to line that up with the edges there and quick grip it in place. I can also use the drawer before it as a reference to make sure they're all aligned, and just prop it up a bit to make sure they're at the right height. So the gaps that I organised before should stay the same, which was about 5 mils. There we go. Perfect. Now just a matter of whacking some screws in. So the problem with that one was this mounting plate was bent and rubbing on that, and that got bent because I put a screw in over here, that guy, which I didn't realize hit that bit and stuffed up my whole runner. So I bent it back, hopefully I can get it back mounted properly. So here's the finished drawer fronts. The new Guinea Rosewood came up a treat with a slight chamfer on all the edges and a little bit of logo work there on all of them. Next up, get these handles on here. Alright, started cutting out the spots for all the lathe accessories and tools and stuff. Jumped the gun a bit and didn't film the first part, so here we go. There it is, all the main stuff I use. That doesn't go there. For the lathe, all the different chucks and attachments. The only other thing I could put in is my life center, but most of the time it's in there. Or I can use my rockler rack over there to store it. But I might make a hole for it anyway.
So I've got my veneers here that are going to make up my drawer handles. I went for a sleek design, made a foam mold, a glue in between each layer and stacked them on top of each other, and it's going to give that plywood effect. I then chucked them in a vacuum bag to press down overnight. It's just a matter of then ripping them down to the right size to get 4 handles, sanding those corners off, and putting a clear coat of poly to match the drawer fronts. Then it was time to mark them out onto the actual drawers, and the process there was pretty easy, just using the one before it to line it up vertically and in the center of each drawer. I decided to utilize the space on the side for a bunch of hand tools that I need access to regularly, and I just use a bunch of screws and hooks to hang them on for quick access.
There it is, my entry to the Springshopstorage challenge. It's taken the place of this old toolbox where when it was on the shelf I could never open that and get those tools. I had to always pull it out. So I could get to these drawers, but it was just a hassle getting to the tools here. I used some Guinea Rosewood for the drawer fronts. It's one of my favourite timbers to work with. Smells nice orange colour. And I put that poll out on Instagram about drawer handles, knobs, pushed opens, whatever. But I kind of like this sleek design. It doesn't protrude out past the workbench, so I'm not going to get caught on it. My clothes won't get snagged on it or anything like that, and hopefully won't bump my leg on it, or if I do, it won't hurt as much. So that was veneered. I had 10 different colored veneers, made a mold, vacuumed them together, and I've put that process on Instagram as well. So top drawer, all the tools ready to go. I can place what I need up on my tool rack up here as well. This drawer's got all my lathe accessories and my sanding station that can be removed out, and I can put up here so dust doesn't get in here while I'm sanding. The third drawer is just my kit, all the turning kits, pen blanks, star bonds, finishing gear, all that good stuff. And the bottom drawer is just that junk drawer, all that random stuff you got, you don't know where to put it, that's the drawer. And the soft close, it's just magical. I made the frame from some leftover MDF that was left over in my house, and it's worked out pretty well. So thanks to Mario, and I'll put a link to the playlist for all the entries. And good luck to all the other entries in going into the draw to win those magical prizes. For other updates, check out my Instagram and have a look at some of the other YouTube videos I've got up on my page. See you next time.